Hey guys, welcome to this video, and I want to go over a tutorial on how to create a calculator app. And as you can see on the right, we have a calculator just to show you that it works. 8 divided by 4 is equal to 2, multiplied by 7 is equal to 14, plus 3 is equal to 17, minus 10 is equal to 7, and 77.5 times 5 is equal to 385. So it doesn't do exact decimal placement, but that's something that's in the JavaScript realm, so you can update the code as you see fit. And finally, we can press clear, and it clears the whole input area. So this tutorial it has a copied part from another tutorial, so you can go through that, or I'm going to just go through the entire process here so you can stick with me in this video. And the reason why I created this tutorial is because I wanted to use it without any other frameworks, and the other tutorial was using a framework called Mathjs from mathjs.org, which is this one right here, mathjs.org. And I wanted to create a simple calculator using purely React. So first things first, let's install React. So npx create React app calculator 8. Okay, so we have our React app installed. So let's go to our folder. And wait for that to open up. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to command line, and I'm going to say npm start. So we have our build going on live. And let's wait for that to initialize. Perfect. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to app.js, and we are going to remove all of this as we're not going to use it. Then I'm going to go to app.css and remove everything here as well. And if we go back to app.js and just say test, we have a basic, well, we have basically nothing. So let's get started right into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick wireframe scaffolding. So I'm going to show you exactly what we want. So we're first going to need a calculator wrapper, calc wrapper, and then row. We're going to need a couple rows. The first row we need is button, and we're going to need 4, and it's going to be 7, 8, 9, and then divide. Next, I'm going to copy this and paste it a couple more times. Next, it's going to be 4, 5, 6, and multiply. Then 1, 2, 3, add. Then last row is going to be decimal sign, 0, equal sign, and minus sign. So if we take a look at our app, button is not defined, so let's go ahead and define that. And I'm going to remove this logo, so I'm not using that either. Okay, so at the top we're going to say import button from, and we haven't created this yet, so we'll create this in a second. Components button. And then we're going to go to source, new folder, components, file, button.js, new file, and then button.css, and I'm going to copy over the app.js into the button.js, and then I'm going to remove all this. Remove this. Actually, remove this, and then change this to button, button, and button. So module not found, can't resolve. If we refresh that, module not found. Components. Perfect. So now it's working, and we want to say inside here we want to bring in the numbers. So here we want to bring the numbers we have here. So we're going to say this props children, which is going to import whatever's inside the brackets into the actual app. Refresh. Okay, so at the very left we have our numbers appearing, so 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and 0. So now let's add some styling to this. So button, I'm going to just bring over the styling really quickly, and you can see it live changing on the right, if it's working. And then first I'm going to change the class name here to button. Display flex, height 4em, flex 1, justify content center, align items center, font weight lighter, font size 1.4em, background color E0, E1, E6, color 888, and an outline 1 pixel solid 888, which is light gray. And then I'm going to go over to app.js and add some styling to this app.css. So display is going to be flex, justify content center, align items center, height is 100 VH, then width is 100%, calc wrapper, width is equal to 400 pixels, and height is equal to 600 pixels. And row is equal to display flex and a width of 100%. Next, we want to go ahead and make the operators orange. So we want, if it's not a number, an equal sign, or a decimal sign, we want the operator to become orange. So we're going to use a equation in React, a function in React to do that. So we're going to go to button.js, and we're going to add a method or a function here called isOperator is equal to value return is not a number and the value inside. So if it's a number, return true. That's basically what that's saying. It's a double negative, is not a number. So check it's not a number is a value. So if it's not a number, return false, but turn that to true with the boolean. And then create value decimal space or an equal sign. So if we have those, we want to create, I think this is an ES6 statement, but we're going to, instead of using brackets there, we're going to use curly braces and backticks and say button. And we're also going to add another class name using the function we just created. So we're going to say, and I'm going to just format this a little bit. And let's see. So next we want to, so now that I have that formatted, I'm going to say this is equal to this is operator and we're going to pass on the value, which is this props children. And if that is true and it is a number or a decimal or an equal sign, then we want to add nothing because we don't want to add any, we don't want to add another styling to it. But if it's not one of those and it's an operator, then we're going to assign a class called operator. That's basically what this is doing here. And then here in the button.css, we want to go ahead and create a CSS style called operator. And give it a background color of FE9241 and a color of white. And we do have an error, so remove this semicolon. And there you go. We have, if we check it, it has a class of operator, and that's giving this orange color. Next, we want to create the input and clear button. So if you can see, we have the input button, area over here at the top that's black, and then the clear button that's at the very bottom. So we're going to create the input button first, and we're going to create it here. We're going to go back to app.js and say new row and input. And we don't have this created yet, so we're going to create it in our components, input.js and new file, input.css. So in our input.js, I'm going to copy everything over from button.js. And once again, I don't need most of this, so I'm going to just create a div, the class name of input. Don't need this. So I'll create an input.css, input, and input. And in the CSS part, we're going to go ahead and create input, and we have an area input is not defined. So let's define that. Import input from components and input. And we're going to go ahead and create a display of flex, height of 4 EM, flex of 1. I think this is getting inputted. So I'm just going to leave that there for now. Background color of 000. Outline 1 pixel solid 888. Color of couple of white. Justify. Content is flex end. Padding is 0.5 EM. Font weight is equal to bold. Font size is equal to 1.4 EM. Align items is equal to center. So that looks nice. And I'm going to go to app.css and just move everything down a little bit. App.css, and if I give margin top of 100 pixels, I think that should do it. Next, I have to create the clear button. So I'm going to actually go over to app.js first. No, I have to go to input.js and remove this text. And this is also going to show this props children. So it's going to inherit the values from the parent, which is from app.js. And in app.js, we're going to have the state.input. We have to create a state component or state area. So we're going to do that right now. Before we create the state, I'm just going to go ahead and create the clear button. So I'm going to go to components, just to make everything look nice first. Clear button.js, clear button.css. So I'm going to go ahead and take everything from input and copy it over to clear button.js. And this is going to be clear button. Paste that there, paste that there. Clear button. And this is also going to have a children. Next, we're going to add this clear button into the app.js. So I'm going to go to the very bottom. Go to the bottom and go to row. And type in clear button. And it's going to say clear inside. And then let's import clear button from components, clear button. And we have the clear button down below, so now let's add in the CSS. Display flex 1, height is equal to 4 EM, line items is equal to center, justify content is equal to center, font weight is equal to lighter, font size is equal to 1.4 EM, outline is equal to 1 pixel solid 888, height is equal to 4 em. Background color is equal to C5, C3, CD. Okay, so we have the clear button and everything is working, but now we have to add in the functionalities. So the first thing we want to do is we want to add in the functionality where if we click on one of the numbers, it actually gets added into the input area above. So to do that, we're going to go back to app.js and so once we're at app.js, we're going to go ahead and create a handle click method, which is a variable, which is just the name for the function. So handle click is equal to this add to input. So that's the function we're going to create. And I'm going to create this right up here. And it's going to equal to the value, which is going to be passed into this function from the button children area. So value this set state input, this state input val. And then since we're using set state, we have to add in a container for holding the states together. So constructor, then super props. This is just simply what you have to write in order to get the states going. So after you have that, you just write state. And we're going to have 4 variables: input, previous number, current number, and operator. So here we have the value added. So here we have the value added, and we're going to go into state, which is over here, this dot state, and input, and we're going to add the value, which is going to be this number, or this number right here. So we're going to go over to now that we have this, we're going to go over to button.js, and we're going to add an onClick method. OnClick. And it's going to be a nameless function. It's going to say this props handle click, this props children. So now if we add 7, it's still not working. Okay, so the reason why 7 is not working is because it is getting added into the input field. It is getting added into the input variable, but it's not actually showing because we haven't actually coded this input area to be displayed. So we're going to go to here, and we're just going to code that in, and it's going to say this state dot input, and that should work. Now if we put 7, it all works. So now let's add this in for the other numbers as well. And finally 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to add it into 0 because for 0 we have to check if the first number is 0 or not. So we're going to add a different functionality for that. Now if we go back here, all the numbers work, and of course 0 doesn't work. So now let's add in the function for 0, and we're going to call it add 0 to input. Add 0 to input, and we're going to go back up top, and we're going to say add 0 to input value, and we're only going to add if this state input is not empty, then add 0, because if it's empty, then we don't want the first digit is going to be a 0, and that's not right for a calculator. So that's why we're going to add this way. So if this state dot input is not blank, which means another number has already been added in, or a decimal point has been added in, then this set state input this state dot input plus value. Now if we go back, 0 adds, and if I refresh, try to make the first number 0, doesn't work, but as soon as I add another number, I can add a 0 back in. Next, let's add the decimal point. Which is over here. So this is going to be add decimal. And we're going to add right here. Add decimal is equal to value. And once again, only add decimal if there's no current decimal point present in the input area. So only add decimal if there is no current decimal point present in the input area. So this is to avoid two or more decimal points from appearing, because that's not a number. So here we're going to say we're going to do an index of. So this state input index of, which searches for the string, and dot, and it has to equal to -1, which means it's not there. And then this set state input if there's no decimal place already added, then it's safe to add this value. So this state input plus value. So there you go, that adds. And it can also be at the very front, but once it's already added, you can't add a second one in. Next, we're going to add in the functionality for the clear button. So once you click it, the entire thing goes cleared up. So we're going to say handle clear this clear input, and we're going to go to clearbutton.js, and we're going to add it right over here. So on click, we pass in a method, and we're going to use it right here in this blank function. So on click, use this props, the passed in function, handle clear. And handle clear is this one, and it's going to go to clear input. So we're going to add in a clear input function, clear input. And clear input function is fairly simple. It's just going to be this set state and input is equal to blank. So there you go, it clears. And we have the clear function ready. Now we have to add in the functionality for the operators, which we're not going to use Mathjs. There is a way to use Mathjs.org to make this work better. But this is a React tutorial, and I want to show you how to actually code in the operator functions, which is pretty simple, but you know, it just gives you more practice. So the first one we're going to do is the addition. So we're going to go down over here. And then we're going to create handle click this dot add, and we're going to create an add function over here. And it's going to be this dot state dot previous number is equal to this dot state dot input. And the reason we do this is so that we store the previous number in a memory, so that when we type in the new number, it's going to override it in the input form in the input field here. But the previous number is stored in memory, so we can actually use it in the we use it with the operator in the equation. So next is this set state input to blank, so that we can enter the new number in. Input is empty, and this state operator is equal to a plus. So the operator is going to be an addition sign. There might be a quicker way to code this, but I'm just going to use the word plus sign and do it manually. But you can definitely look up other ways to code this more efficiently. Now that we have the addition sign working, we also want to make the equal sign work so that we can actually evaluate the function. So to do that, we're going to go back down, and we're going to give another on-click event for the equal sign. We're just going to say handle click is equal to this evaluate, and evaluate, that should do it. And we're going to add in a function here, evaluate. This dot state dot current number is equal to this dot state dot input. And if this state operator is equal to a plus, then this set state is equal to input. And we're going to here use the previous and the current number. So here the current number is going to be the new one that we just entered, which is going to be from the input area, which is fresh. And we're going to say parse int this dot state dot previous number plus parse int this dot state dot current number. And we have an error, unexpected token on 52. So now if we do 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Okay, so we have the plus sign working, so now let's do the same thing for the minus area. Minus sign is down here. So handle click this subtract. So we're going to go over here and we're just going to copy and paste this and change it to subtract. Subtract. And here we're going to change this. We're just going to copy that into an else statement. Else if this is subtract, then we want to set state then we want to change this to a subtract. And if we do 5 minus 1 is equal to 4. So that works. So now let's do the same thing for multiply. Multiply is over here. So handle click is equal to this dot multiply. And I'm going to do the divide here at the same time. Handle click is equal to this divide. So copy this, paste that twice. So one's going to be multiply and one's going to be subtract. Divide. There is a way to do refactoring, but I haven't yet looked up how to do that yet. So if you do know how to do that, you can go ahead and do that so that you don't have to repeat or type in the same code over and over again. Otherwise, I'm just going to go over here and copy and paste this, else if, and paste it in twice. One's going to be multiply, and change this to a multiply sign, and one's going to be a divide. Okay, so that should work. So 5 divided by 2 is equal to 2.5. Multiplied by 3 is equal to it should be 7.5, but oh, I see, it's not taking care of the decimal points correctly. Because parse int is not it's not recognizing the dot as a number. So I'll have to figure that out in a future tutorial, but this is what I have so far, and you can clear. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks and bye.